The meeting room was dark, lit only by the blue glow of holographic displays floating in the air. Vratek sat at the head of the long table, his scaled hands folded together as he listened to the report. Around him, 12 other council members watched in silence. They were the leaders of the Velik Consortium, the most feared assassination guild in the known galaxy. The human discovered our mining operation on Kepler 186F, the intelligence officer said, his voice steady despite the gravity of his words. Captain Daewon Kim of the Earth vessel Eternal Frontier. He has detailed scans of our illegal extraction sites. If this information reaches the Galactic Trade Federation, we will face sanctions. Vratek's eyes narrowed. Humans were new to the galactic stage, barely a century since first contact. They were considered primitive by most species, violent and unpredictable, but they were also protected by several trade agreements. Killing one would require careful planning. Authorize the contract, Vratek said finally. Send Kelthax. One assassin should be sufficient for a human. The decision was made. Within hours, Kelthax received his orders. He was a master of his craft, with over 300 successful eliminations across 40 star systems. A single human explorer would be easy work. Far across the galaxy, Captain Daewon Kim stood on the observation deck of his ship, watching stars streak past as they traveled through subspace. He was a tall man in his early 30s with short black hair and tired eyes that had seen too many wonders to count. His uniform was worn but clean, marked with the insignia of the United Earth Exploration Corps. Daewon, you need to see this, a voice called from behind him. Dr. Hannah Park entered the deck carrying a datapad. She was his chief science officer and oldest friend, someone he had known since their academy days on Earth. What is it? Daewon asked, turning away from the window. I finished analyzing the scans from Kepler 186F. Those mining operations are stripping the planet's core. The whole ecosystem will collapse within 5 years. Hannah's voice was tight with anger. We need to report this. Daewon nodded slowly. He had suspected as much. The mining equipment they had detected was far too advanced for legal operations. Someone was breaking galactic law and they were doing it on a massive scale. We will, he said. But first we need to resupply. I have us scheduled to dock at Meridian 7 station in 3 days. Hannah frowned. You think someone might try to stop us? If they know we have this information? Yes. Daewon had learned caution during his years in the Earth military, before he became an explorer. The galaxy was not a safe place, especially for those who uncovered secrets. 3 days later, the Eternal Frontier docked at Meridian 7, a massive trading station that orbited a gas giant. The station was neutral territory, a place where all species could trade and resupply without fear of conflict. At least that was the theory. Daewon walked through the crowded marketplace with Tae-Sung Lee, his chief engineer. Tae-Sung was younger, barely 25, but brilliant with any kind of technology. He chattered excitedly about the alien equipment on display, while Daewon kept his attention on their surroundings. That was when he felt it. A prickling sensation at the back of his neck, an old instinct from his military days. Someone was watching him. Daewon's hand moved casually to his side where a small plasma pistol was concealed under his jacket. He had hoped he would not need it. That hope died when he saw the figure moving through the crowd toward them. Kelthax was dressed in civilian clothes, but Daewon recognized the purposeful way he moved, the way his eyes never left their target. The assassin's hand reached into his coat. Tae-Sung, get down! Daewon shouted, pushing his engineer aside as he drew his weapon. The marketplace erupted into chaos. People screamed and ran as Kelthax pulled out a sleek energy blade and lunged forward. Daewon fired twice, but the assassin was fast, dodging both shots with inhuman speed. Kelthax had killed hundreds of targets. He had studied dozens of species and knew their weaknesses. But as he closed the distance to the human, he realized something was wrong. The human was not running. The human was not panicking. The human was analyzing. Daewon watched the assassin's movements, processing the information his military training had drilled into him. The alien was faster, stronger, better armed. Direct combat would be suicide, so he would not fight directly. As Kelthax swung his blade, Daewon grabbed a metal cargo container and hurled it into the assassin's path. The alien sliced through it easily, but the moment of distraction was enough. Daewon kicked over a vendor's cart, sending fruits and containers rolling across the floor. Kelthax's foot slipped on something wet and round. That half-second of imbalance was all Daywan needed. He closed the distance and drove his fist into the side of Kelthax's head. A brutal strike that would have killed a human. The Velik stumbled but did not fall. Daywan hit him again, then swept his legs out from under him. Kelthax crashed to the ground, his blade skittering away across the metal floor. He looked up at the human standing over him, plasma pistol aimed at his head, and for the first time in his long career, Kelthax felt something he did not recognize at first. Fear. "Who sent you?" Daywan demanded, his voice cold and controlled. Kelthax said nothing. He triggered an emergency teleport beacon hidden in his clothing. In a flash of light, he vanished, leaving Daywan standing alone in the ruined marketplace. Station security arrived moments later, but by then, the assassin was gone. Daywan gave his statement, showed his identification, and returned to his ship. Taesung was shaken but unharmed. "What was that about?" Taesung asked as they walked back through the docking bay. "Someone does not want us sharing what we found," Daywan said quietly. "We need to leave. Now." Back on the Eternal Frontier, Daywan called his senior crew together. Besides Hana and Taesung, there was Jiwoo Choi, their pilot. Jiwoo was confident to the point of arrogance, but she could fly anything with engines. "Someone just tried to kill me," Daywan told them bluntly. "Professional assassin, probably Velik Consortium based on the equipment. They know about the mining data." "So what do?" Jiwoo asked. "Run? Hide?" "We report what we found as planned," Daywan said firmly. "But we do it carefully, and we stay alert." Hana touched his arm. "Daywan, if the Velik Consortium is involved, one assassin will not be the end of it." "I know." Daywan had fought in 3 different wars before leaving the military. He knew how enemies thought, how they escalated. But we cannot let them silence us. What they are doing on that planet is genocide. The native species will die if that mining continues. The crew nodded, their faces set with determination. They were explorers, scientists, not soldiers. But they were also human, and humans did not abandon what was right just because it was dangerous. Across the galaxy, Kelthax stood before Vertek and the Council. His injuries had been treated, but the shame remained. He made his report, his voice steady despite his humiliation. "The human fights like nothing I have encountered," Kelthax said. "He uses his environment as a weapon. He thinks like a predator, not prey. His reflexes are faster than our intelligence suggested. I recommend sending a full team." Vratek leaned back in his chair, considering. A single human had defeated one of their best. It was unacceptable. It was impossible. It was infuriating. "Send 12, Vratek ordered, and make sure they understand. This human dies, no matter the cost." The Velik Consortium meeting chamber was filled with tension. 12 specialized assassins stood in formation before the Council. Each wore dark armor designed for their specific role. There were toxin specialists, energy weapon experts, infiltrators, and psychological warfare agents. They had been briefed on their target and his crew. "This is a matter of reputation," Vertek told them, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "A human made fools of us. You will correct this mistake. Kill Captain Daewon Kim and anyone who stands with him. Leave no evidence. We want this to look like an accident if possible, but completion is more important than subtlety." The lead assassin, Vexar, bowed his head. "It will be done, Council Leader. One human cannot stand against 12 of us," Vexar was confident. He had planned operations across 100 worlds. He knew how to study a target, find their patterns, exploit their weaknesses. Humans were new to space. They would be easy to predict. He was wrong. 2 weeks later, the opportunity presented itself. Daewon and his crew were scheduled to attend a diplomatic meeting on Arcturus Prime, a colony world known for its markets and cultural exchanges. The planet's government was friendly to Earth and maintained strong trade relationships. It seemed like safe ground. The meeting was held in the Planetary Governor's office, a grand building in the capital city's center. Daewon presented his evidence about the illegal mining operation to a panel of officials from various worlds. Hana provided scientific analysis. Taesung showed technical data proving the mining equipment signatures matched known Velik Consortium patterns. Outside, in the busy marketplace surrounding the government district, the 12 assassins moved into position. They had studied the building's layout, planned 3 different escape routes, and positioned snipers on nearby rooftops. Vexar waited for the meeting to end. They would strike when the targets emerged, but Daewon had not survived multiple wars by being careless. Before entering the building, he had done his own reconnaissance. He had noted unusual figures on rooftops. He had spotted vendors who watched too carefully. He had seen the same faces appear in different locations. His paranoia, earned through years of combat, screamed warnings. During the meeting, he sent a coded message to his crew. 4 words. They are here. Prepare. When the meeting ended and Daewon's group exited the building, everything seemed normal for exactly 7 seconds. Then chaos erupted. 3 assassins opened fire from elevated positions. Energy bolts cut through the air where Daewon had been standing a moment before. He had already moved, diving behind a stone fountain and pulling Hana down with him. Taesung rolled behind a vendor stall. Ji-woo, who had been waiting near their transport vehicle, drew her sidearm and returned fire. The marketplace dissolved into panic. Civilians ran screaming. Alarms blared. Local security forces scrambled to respond. Vexar smiled. The chaos worked in their favor. In the confusion, they could eliminate the targets and disappear. He signaled his team to close in. That was his second mistake. He assumed the humans would try to flee. They did not. Daewon assessed the situation in seconds. 3 shooters above, at least 6 more closing in on ground level. Probably more he had not spotted yet. His crew was outnumbered and outgunned. Standard military doctrine would suggest retreat. But Daewon had learned in the wars on Earth that sometimes the only way to survive an ambush was to attack into it. Taesung, can you access the market's security system? He shouted over the sound of energy weapons. Already on it. Taesung had his portable computer out, fingers flying across the interface. The market has automated cleaning drones, delivery bots, even some construction equipment on standby. Turn them into weapons. Ji-woo suppressing fire on the rooftops. Hana with me. Hana looked at him like he was insane. With you where? We are going hunting. What happened next would be analyzed by military tacticians across the galaxy for years to come. Taesung hacked into the market's automated systems and turned ordinary equipment into improvised weapons. Cleaning drones became flying battering rams. Delivery bots were reprogrammed to charge at the assassins. A construction crane's load of steel beams was released directly above 2 Velic positions. Ji-woo kept up steady fire, forcing the snipers to keep their heads down. Her accuracy was terrifying. She had grown up in Earth's rough outer colonies where everyone learned to shoot before they learned to read. Every shot she fired came within centimeters of hitting an assassin, and Daewon did something the Velic had never encountered. He went on the offensive. He moved through the chaos like a ghost, using the panicking crowd as cover. Hana followed close behind, her knowledge of alien biology directing them to targets. She had studied dozens of species and knew their weaknesses. They found the first assassin hiding behind a collapsed market stall, trying to circle around for a better shot. Daewon did not give him time to aim. He grabbed a metal support rod from the collapsed stall and drove it through the thin armor joint at the assassin's shoulder. The Velic screamed and dropped his weapon. Velic nervous systems connect here, Hana said clinically, pointing to a spot on the assassin's neck. A sharp impact causes temporary paralysis. Daewon nodded and struck the indicated point. The assassin collapsed, twitching. They moved to the next target. And the next. Daewon fought with brutal efficiency, using every dirty trick he had learned in Earth's wars. He threw sand in faces. He kicked knees backward. He used the environment as a weapon, collapsing vendor stalls on top of assassins, redirecting their own energy blasts with reflective surfaces. Vexar watched his carefully planned operation fall apart. His snipers were pinned down by impossibly accurate return fire. His ground team was being systematically taken apart by a single human who fought like a demon. The automated systems were attacking his people. Nothing was going according to plan. Fall back, he ordered over the communication channel. Regroup at extraction point Beta. But falling back meant exposing themselves. As his team retreated, they became targets. Ji-woo shot one through the leg. A cleaning drone smashed into another's face. Daewon caught a third trying to climb to a rooftop and pulled him back down, slamming him into the pavement. Local security finally arrived in force, heavily armed and ready for a major incident. They found a marketplace in ruins. Several dead Velic assassins, 3 captured and wounded, and 2 fleeing into the city. They also found 4 humans, breathing hard but alive, standing in the center of the destruction. The planetary governor himself came to the scene. He looked at the carnage, then at Day-Wan. "Captain Kim, what happened here?" "Assassins, Governor." "They did not succeed." Day-Wan's voice was calm, but his hands shook slightly from adrenaline. "The ones we captured should be questioned. I believe they work for the Velic Consortium." The captured assassins were indeed questioned. Under Arcturus Prime's laws, they had no choice but to talk. They confirmed the consortium's involvement, the contract on Day-Wan's life, and the reason behind it. The mining operation evidence was real. The story spread across the galactic news networks like wildfire. Human explorer survives assassination attempt. Velic Consortium exposed in illegal mining scandal. 1 human defeats 12 elite assassins. The 2 assassins who escaped made it back to their ship and fled the system. When they reported to Vexar, who had coordinated the operation from orbit, their message was brief and terrifying. They do not fight like other species. They do not panic. They do not retreat. They fight to make you afraid, and it works. The human captain is not a scientist. He is a soldier pretending to be a scientist, and his crew is the same. Vexar transmitted this information back to the consortium headquarters. He included all tactical data, video footage from his team's armor cameras, and his own analysis. His conclusion was simple and disturbing. Humans are apex predators. They spent millions of years evolving on a death world, fighting other predators for survival. Their military training comes from thousands of years of war against their own species. They are creative, adaptive, and utterly ruthless when threatened. I recommend we cancel the contract and accept the reputational damage. The alternative is worse. Britek read the report 3 times. He watched the footage of Day-Wan fighting in the marketplace. He saw the cold calculation in the human's eyes, the way he turned everything into a weapon, the way his crew worked together like parts of a single organism. For the first time in his long career, Britek felt uncertain. But the council was watching. The consortium's reputation was at stake. They could not back down now. "Send the shadow cadre," he ordered. "All 50 of them. I want this human dead within a month." Day-Wan sat alone in his quarters aboard the Eternal Frontier, staring at the holographic display floating above his desk. It showed news reports from across the galaxy. His face was on every major network. Some called him a hero. Others called him a troublemaker. A few called him a dead man walking. The Velic Consortium had not given up. Intelligence reports suggested they were preparing something bigger. More assassins. Better equipped. Day-Wan knew how this would end if he stayed on the defensive. They would keep coming until they succeeded, or until he spent the rest of his life running. There was another option. One that made his crew uncomfortable when he suggested it. "You want to do what?" Jiwoo asked, her voice rising in disbelief. They were gathered in the ship's briefing room. "Hunt the Velic Consortium? Are you insane?" "Probably," Day-Wan admitted. "But think about it. They know where we are. They have unlimited resources. We cannot hide forever. But if we go after them, we change the dynamic. We make them afraid." Taesung shook his head. "We are explorers, not soldiers." "Well, you are a soldier, but the rest of us are not." "I am with Day-Wan." Hana's quiet voice cut through the argument. Everyone turned to look at her. "I accessed the communication devices from the captured assassins. I know where one of their regional bases is located. And I know something else. The consortium is not just after us. They have contracts on 47 other people who discovered their illegal operations. Scientists, explorers, journalists. If we do not stop them, those people die." The room fell silent. The weight of that information settled over them like a heavy blanket. "Where is the base?" Day-Wan asked. "Kepler 442b. It is a moon orbiting a gas giant in the outer reaches. Officially uninhabited, but the base is hidden inside an old mining facility." Hana pulled up images on the main display. "Heavy defenses. At least 100 personnel. We would need help." "I know someone who might help," Day-Wan said slowly. 2 people, actually. If they are still alive, and if they will talk to me. 3 days later, the Eternal Frontier docked at a small station near the border of human-controlled space. Day-Wan went down alone despite his crew's protests. The person he was meeting would not appreciate a crowd. The station's bar was dingy and poorly lit. Day-Wan found who he was looking for at a corner table, nursing a drink and looking tired. Yunseo Nam had aged since the last time he saw her. More gray in her hair, more scars on her hands, but her eyes were still sharp. "Hello, Yunseo," Day-Wan said, sitting down across from her. "Day-Wan." She did not smile. I heard you made yourself famous. Pissed off the Velic Consortium. That is impressively stupid even for you. I need your help. No. I have not even told you what I need yet. Does not matter. The answer is still no. Yunseo took a long drink. I am retired. Done with the spy game. Done with missions. Done with everything. 47 people are going to die, Yunseo. Scientists. Explorers. Good people who found evidence of crimes and are being silenced for it. Daewon leaned forward. I am going after the consortium's base on Kepler 442b, with or without you. But with you, more people survive. Yunseo studied him for a long moment. She had worked with Daewon during the border wars, back when Earth was still fighting for its place in the galaxy. He had been a good soldier then. Brave but not stupid. If he said he was going through with this, he meant it. Fine, she said finally. But I want one more person on the team. Hyunwoo Jang, you remember him? Daewon nodded. Hyunwoo had been part of their Special Forces unit. A good man who had lost his way after the wars ended. Where is he? Living in a cargo container on Europa, last I heard. Drinking himself to death and trying to forget. Yunseo stood up. We should go get him before you get us all killed. 2 days later, they found Hyunwoo exactly where Yunseo said he would be. He looked terrible. Unshaven, underweight, eyes hollow. But when Daewon explained the mission, something sparked back to life in those eyes. You are going to attack a Velic Consortium base, Hyunwoo said slowly. A base designed to train assassins. A place filled with people who kill for a living. Yes. With a crew of 5 people. 6, if you join us. Hyunwoo laughed, a sound that held no humor. We are all going to die. Maybe, Daewon agreed. But we will make them remember us first. And maybe we save 47 innocent people in the process. Is that not worth something? Hyunwoo was quiet for a long time. Then he stood up and started packing a bag. When do we leave? The journey to Kepler 442b took 8 days. During that time, they planned. Yunseo's intelligence networks provided detailed maps of the facility. Taesung worked on hacking tools. Hana prepared medical supplies and studied Velic physiology for weak points. Jiwoo plotted escape routes. Hyunwoo and Daewon trained, getting their combat skills sharp again. The moon was cold and barren, its surface scarred by ancient volcanic activity. The consortium base was built into a crater, disguised as an abandoned mining operation. Sensors swept the surrounding area constantly. Gun emplacements could track targets from orbit. It was a fortress. This is suicide, Jiwoo muttered as they approached in a small stealth shuttle Yunseo had acquired through her contacts. Probably, Daewon agreed. But they are expecting someone to attack from outside with force. We are going to sneak in like mice and make them chase their own tails. They landed 5 kilometers from the base under cover of a magnetic storm that scrambled sensors. The approach was brutal, hiking across freezing terrain in environment suits. But it also meant the base's external sensors were half blind. Taesung hacked into a maintenance access port on the base's outer perimeter. I am in their system, he whispered over the team's communication channel. They have 73 people inside right now. Most are sleeping. 12 are on active duty. Perfect, Daewon said. We do this quiet and quick. Yunseo, Hyunwoo, you take the command center. Hana Jiwoo, you are with Taesung securing the communication hub. I am going after the commander. They split up and entered the facility through different access points. The base was large but not well guarded internally. The Velic had never imagined someone would be foolish enough to attack them on their own ground. That assumption cost them. Daewon moved through the corridors like a shadow. He had memorized the base layout. He knew where the cameras were, where the guards patrolled, where the commander's quarters would be. He avoided direct confrontation when possible, but when he encountered guards, he neutralized them quickly and silently. In the command center, Yunseo and Hyunwoo worked with deadly efficiency. They disabled 3 guards without raising an alarm, then locked down the facility's blast doors, trapping different sections apart from each other. Hyunwoo felt something he had not felt in years. Purpose. Taesung took control of the communication system, rerouting all external and internal transmissions through his own equipment. They cannot call for help, he reported, and I am broadcasting every file in their database to my ship. We are getting evidence of everything they have done. The base commander, a Velic named Sarnak, woke to find a human standing in his quarters. plasma pistol aimed at his head. "You are going to answer some questions," Day One said calmly. "Starting with where your main headquarters is located," Sarnak hissed in anger and fear. "You are dead. All of you. The consortium will hunt you across the galaxy. They are already trying. Not going well for them." Day One pressed the pistol against Sarnak's forehead. "Headquarters location now," Sarnak talked. He told them about the consortium's main base in the Andromeda sector. He told them about the Shadow Cadre being mobilized. He told them about the other contracts, the illegal operations, everything he knew. When Day One had what he needed, he did something Sarnak did not expect. He did not kill him. "You and your people get one chance," Day One said. "You can surrender and face trial, or you can try to stop us from leaving and we will kill everyone in this base. Your choice," and Sarnak chose surrender. Not out of mercy or morality, but out of pure fear. He had watched the security footage of what these humans had done to his people. He knew they were capable of making good on the threat. The team left Kepler 442b with Sarnak and 15 other consortium members in custody, along with massive amounts of evidence. The story hit the galactic networks within hours. Humans infiltrate Valak Consortium base. Assassin Guild secrets exposed. But the story also carried a warning from the survivors. A message that spread through the criminal underworld of the galaxy. The humans showed mercy, but only once. Cross them again, and they will end you. On board the Eternal Frontier as they jumped to hyperspace, Day One received a coded transmission. It was from Valak Consortium headquarters. Not a threat, not a demand. Just information. The Shadow Cadre was coming. 50 of the best assassins in the galaxy, and they were bringing a fleet. The asteroid facility was old, built centuries ago by a mining corporation that went bankrupt. Its tunnels stretched deep into the rock and its surface buildings were barely standing. Most species would have considered it worthless. But Day One saw potential. "This is where we make our stand," he announced to the team. They stood in what used to be the main control room, now filled with cobwebs and dust. "You cannot be serious," Jiwoo said, looking around at the crumbling walls. "This place is falling apart." "Exactly," Day One replied. "They will expect us to run, to hide on a populated world where they cannot use heavy weapons. Instead, we choose our battlefield. We control the environment. We make them come to us." Yunseo nodded slowly. "It could work. The facility has good bones. Structural support is still solid in the deeper sections. We could fortify the tunnels, set up defensive positions, create choke points. We have 3 weeks before the Shadow Cadre can reach this location," Day One said. "We use that time to turn this ruin into a fortress." "Taesung, what can you do with the old mining equipment?" Taesung's eyes lit up. "Oh, I can do a lot. The laser drills still have power cells. The transport vehicles can be converted into mobile bombs. The ventilation system can be weaponized. Give me 2 weeks and this place will be a death trap." They got to work. Every day was spent preparing, building, planning. Hana set up a medical station in the deepest, most protected tunnel. Jiwoo rigged the landing platforms with explosives. Hyunwoo and Daewon created defensive positions throughout the facility, each one designed to fall back to the next, leading attackers deeper into prepared kill zones. Yunseo used her contacts to spread information through the galactic networks. She made sure everyone knew where Daewon was, what he was doing, and why. She turned their desperate stand into a story, and stories had power. "Let them know we are here," Daewon told her. "Let them know we are waiting. And let them know we are not afraid." The Shadow Cadre arrived exactly on schedule. 50 of the Velic Consortium's finest warriors trained since birth in the art of killing. They came in 5 ships, heavily armed and shielded. Their commander, Sethrix, was a legend among assassins. He had never failed a contract in 30 years. He looked at the asteroid on his view screen and smiled. This would be easy. The humans had trapped themselves. There was no escape from an asteroid. They would bombard it from orbit, break through the defenses, and finish this contract that had become an embarrassment. "Begin orbital strikes," Sethrix ordered. "Target the surface structures first. Drive them underground, then we will send in ground teams." The asteroid shook as energy beams struck its surface. Explosions ripped through the old buildings, turning them to rubble. The bombardment continued for an hour, until nothing remained above ground but craters and debris. Sethrix sent down his first team, 20 assassins in powered armor, armed with the best weapons money could buy. They landed near the main entrance to the underground facility and began their descent. That was when they discovered the first surprise. The tunnels were not empty. They were filled with traps. An automated laser drill activated as the first assassin passed beneath it, cutting through shields and armor like paper. The tunnel floor collapsed, dropping 3 more into a chamber that immediately filled with toxic gas. Hana had engineered it specifically to target Valak respiratory systems. The team pushed forward, now cautious. They reached what looked like a large processing chamber and spread out to secure it. Then the walls exploded inward, and transport vehicles packed with explosives detonated simultaneously. The chamber collapsed, burying 8 assassins under tons of rock. Of the 20 who entered, only 9 made it back to the surface. They were traumatized, injured, and confused. "They have turned the entire facility into a weapon," the team leader reported to Sethrix. "Every tunnel is trapped. Every room is a potential kill zone. We cannot advance without taking massive casualties." Sethrix was not concerned. He had 42 assassins left. He sent them all in, splitting them into multiple teams attacking from different entry points. Surely the humans could not trap everything. Day 2 of the siege began with 15 assassins breaching the facility from the north entrance. They moved carefully, scanning for traps, advancing slowly. They made it 50 meters before Taesung activated his surprise. The old ventilation system roared to life, not with air but with superheated steam mixed with metal fragments. The tunnel became a pressure cooker. Shields failed. Armor melted. Screams echoed through the communication channels. Another team entered from the east and found themselves facing Hyunwoo and Daewon in a narrow corridor designed for close combat. The assassins had superior equipment. The humans had superior experience in brutal, face-to-face fighting. It was not even close. Within minutes, the team retreated, leaving 4 dead behind. A third team tried to cut through the asteroid's rock to create a new entrance. They succeeded, only to discover that Taesung had rigged the tunnels on the other side with motion-sensitive mines. The explosion collapsed their new entrance and took out 6 more assassins. By the end of day 2, Sethrix had lost 17 assassins and had not even reached the humans' main defensive positions. He could not understand how this was possible. They had every advantage: better weapons, better armor, more numbers. And yet the humans were winning. On day 3, Daewon led a counterattack. While the shadow cadre was focused on breaching the facility, he and Hyunwoo used maintenance shafts to reach the surface. They attacked the cadre's supply depot, destroying ammunition stores and escape vehicles. They killed 3 assassins who were resting between assault waves. Then they disappeared back into the tunnels before reinforcements could arrive. The psychological impact was devastating. The assassins realized they were not just fighting a defensive battle. They were being hunted in return. Day 4 saw Sethrix try a new strategy. He sent in his most elite squad, 5 assassins who specialized in infiltration and stealth. They bypassed the main tunnels, using scanning equipment to find natural fissures in the asteroid's rock. They moved in absolute silence, avoiding every trap, getting deeper than any team had managed. They reached the central hub where the humans had set up their command post. Victory was within reach. Then Hana released her secret weapon, microscopic organisms she had engineered in her makeshift lab, designed to produce a chemical that interfered with Valak neural pathways. The effect was not deadly but completely incapacitating. The 5 elite assassins collapsed, unable to move, unable to fight, barely able to breathe. "You can leave," Hana told them over the communication channel, her voice cold and clinical. "You can survive this. But you need to leave now and get medical treatment within 6 hours, or you will die here." They crawled back to their extraction point. Sethrix watched his best team, the elite of the elite, barely make it back alive. Something broke inside him at that moment. Some fundamental belief he had held about the natural order of the galaxy. By day 5, he had 22 assassins left out of 50. They were exhausted, terrified, and questioning everything they had been taught about humans being an easy target. Day 6 brought the breaking point. Day 1 appeared on an open communication channel that Sethrix's entire remaining force could hear. "You have lost," Day 1 said simply. "More than half your team is dead or wounded. You have achieved nothing. I am offering you one chance to leave. Take your people and go. Tell your masters that humans are not prey. We are survivors. We are fighters, and we remember." One of the assassins, young and scared, broke first. He ran for the ships. Then another. Then 5 more Sethrix tried to rally them. "Stand your ground. We are the Shadow Cadre. We do not retreat. We also do not die pointlessly," one of the older assassins said, limping toward the extraction point. "The contract is not worth this. Nothing is worth this." On day 7, Sethrix made the call he never thought he would make. He contacted Vritek at Consortium headquarters. "We are withdrawing," he said, his voice hollow. "We cannot complete the contract. The human and his team have defeated us. They have turned an abandoned facility into an impregnable fortress. They have killed or wounded more than half my force. We are leaving before they kill us all." Vritek watched through the communication screen as his legendary Shadow Cadre, the finest assassins in the galaxy, retreated from a battle against 6 humans. 6? How is this possible? Vritek whispered. "Because they are not like other species," Sethrix replied. "They do not fight to win territory or resources. They fight to survive, and they are very, very good at it." The surviving assassins fled the asteroid. Behind them, in the ruins of the mining facility, 6 humans stood exhausted but alive. They had faced the greatest assassins in the galaxy and won, but Day One knew this was not the end. It was just the beginning. The Velic Consortium would not accept this defeat. They would come with everything they had, and next time it would not be assassins, it would be war. The Velic Consortium council chamber was silent. 12 faces stared at the holographic display showing casualty reports, mission failures, and mounting costs. Vritek stood at the head of the table, his hands clenched so tightly his claws drew blood from his own palms. "One human," he said quietly. "One explorer with a small crew has destroyed our reputation. We have lost over 60 trained assassins. 3 regional bases have been exposed. Our illegal operations across 40 systems are now under investigation by the Galactic Trade Federation. We should negotiate," one council member suggested nervously. "Accept the losses and move on." "No." Vritek's voice was ice. "If we back down now, the consortium is finished. Every target will think they can fight back. Every client will doubt our capabilities. We mobilize the fleet, not assassins, not soldiers. Everything. We end this permanently." 2 weeks later, 200 Velic Consortium warships entered the Meridian sector, heading directly for the asteroid where Day One had made his stand. It was the largest military force the Consortium had ever assembled. Enough firepower to crack a planet. On board the Eternal Frontier, still docked inside the asteroid facility, alarms screamed. Sensors detected the incoming fleet while it was still 3 days away. "That is a lot of ships," Jiwoo said, her usual confidence shaken. 200. Maybe more. "We cannot fight that, Day One." "Nobody can." Day One studied the tactical display. She was right. No amount of clever traps or desperate tactics would save them from that kind of firepower. They would simply bombard the asteroid until nothing remained but dust. But he had not been idle during the 2 weeks since the Shadow Cadre's retreat. Yoon Seo had been busy too, using her intelligence network in ways that made even her uncomfortable. "I have been talking to people," Yoon Seo said. "The Galactic Trade Federation is angry about the Consortium's illegal operations. The Planetary Defense Alliance wants to make an example of them. Several Earth colonies are ready to send ships, and other species the Consortium has wronged are eager for payback." "How many ships can we gather?" Daewon asked. "Maybe 100 if everyone follows through, but they need 3 days to assemble, and the Consortium fleet will be here in 3 days." "Then we stall them," Hyunwoo said. "We make them talk." "Buy time," Daewon nodded. "Open a communication channel to the Consortium fleet. Let me talk to whoever is in command." The response came within minutes. Vritek himself appeared on the view screen, his scaled face twisted with rage. "Captain Kim," Vritek said, "you have been a thorn in our side long enough. Surrender now and your crew will be allowed to leave. You alone will face judgment." "Judgment for what?" Daewon asked calmly. "Defending myself? Exposing your crimes? You came after me first. I just refused to die quietly. You humiliated us. You tried to kill me for discovering the truth. Everything that happened after that is on you." Daewon leaned forward. "I'm going to make you an offer, Vritek. One chance. Disband the Consortium. Turn over your leaders for trial. Stop all illegal operations. Do that and I will advocate for mercy at your trial." Vritek laughed, a harsh sound. "You are in no position to make demands. In 3 days you will be dead and this will be over." "In 3 days," Daewon replied. "You are going to regret bringing a fleet to this fight." The channel closed. Vratek turned to his tactical officers. Maintain current course. When we arrive, I want overwhelming bombardment. Nothing survives. But during those 3 days, something unprecedented happened across the galaxy. The story of the human explorer who stood against an assassin guild had captured attention. Yoon Seo had made sure the story spread everywhere, presented not as one man's fight but as a stand against tyranny and injustice. Ships began to move. Earth sent a battle group of 30 vessels. The Planetary Defense Alliance contributed 20 more. The Galactic Trade Federation, seeing an opportunity to eliminate a criminal organization, sent observers and 30 heavily armed peacekeepers. Independent colonies and merchant guilds, tired of consortium extortion, sent what they could spare. And humans being humans, many came just because someone needed help and had asked for it. When the Valak Consortium fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the asteroid on the appointed day, they found themselves facing not 6 humans in a broken facility, but a coalition armada of 140 ships representing 20 different species and governments. Vratek stared at the display in disbelief. How is this possible? The human called friends, his tactical officer reported. And apparently he has many of them. The 2 fleets faced each other across the void. The consortium still had superior numbers, but not by much. And coalition forces included several Earth warships whose capabilities were still largely unknown to other species. Daewon opened a channel to all ships on both sides. This does not have to be a battle, he said. The Valak Consortium has committed crimes across dozens of systems. We have evidence. We have witnesses. We have everything needed for justice. But justice does not require more deaths. Vratek, you can end this. Stand down. Face trial. Let the galaxy decide your guilt. For a moment there was silence. Then weapons powered up on the consortium flagship. We are the Valak Consortium, Vratek transmitted. We do not surrender. We do not yield. All ships, open fire. The Battle of Meridian Nebula began with a blaze of energy weapons and missile launches. But within the first minutes it became clear this would not go as Vratek expected. The human ships fought with a ferocity that shocked the other species. They did not hang back and snipe from distance. They closed in, trading damage for kills using tactics that seemed suicidal but somehow worked. Earth pilots had been fighting each other for thousands of years before reaching space. They knew every trick, every dirty maneuver, every psychological pressure point. One Earth destroyer deliberately flew into a formation of 5 consortium cruisers, shields at maximum, while launching every escape pod. The consortium ships wasted precious seconds targeting the pods thinking they were weapons. By the time they realized the truth, the destroyer had passed through their formation and detonated its reactor core. All 5 cruisers were destroyed, but the pilot had already evacuated, as had every human on that ship using those decoy pods. 0 casualties. Other coalition ships learned from the humans. They started taking risks, using creative tactics, thinking outside the rigid military doctrines most species followed. The battle turned into chaos, exactly the environment where human adaptability thrived. Daewon was not sitting idle during the battle. The Eternal Frontier was not a warship, but Taesung had spent the last 3 days modifying everything he could. They launched from the asteroid and dove into the battle, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is Captain Daewon Kim. The Valak Consortium has committed genocide, mass murder, extortion, and conspiracy across the galaxy. I have evidence stored in data cores on this ship. If the consortium destroys us, that evidence automatically transmits to every major news network in known space. But I am also broadcasting their crimes right now. The galaxy is watching, Vratek. The galaxy sees what you are, and he was. Hana had prepared detailed documentation of every consortium crime they had uncovered. The broadcast showed illegal mining operations, lists of assassinated targets, financial records of bribes and corruption. Within minutes, the data flooded across the galactic network. Public opinion turned instantly. The consortium was not fighting to protect itself. It was fighting to hide its crimes, and now those crimes were public knowledge. Several consortium ships stopped firing. Their captains, seeing the truth laid bare, refused to fight. Some surrendered. Others simply powered down weapons and withdrew. Vratek watched his fleet fall apart. Not just defeated, but abandoned. His own people were giving up, choosing surrender over supporting known atrocities. An Earth frigate disabled his flagship's engines with a precision strike. Coalition ships surrounded him. There was no escape. The communication channel opened one final time. Day One's face appeared on Vratek's screen. "It is over," Day One said. "Stand down. You have lost." Vratek looked at the human who had destroyed his organization. One explorer. One small crew. How had it come to this? "We thought you were prey," Vratek said quietly. "We were wrong." "Yes, you were. Humans are not prey. We are survivors. We spent millions of years on a world that tried to kill us every single day. We fought predators, diseases, each other, nature itself, and we won every time because we never give up. We never stop fighting. And we never forget." The consortium fleet surrendered. Vratek and his council were taken into custody to face trial. Over the following months, the Velic consortium was dismantled piece by piece. Their assets were seized, their bases shut down, their contracts canceled. The 47 people who had been targeted for death were saved. Many came to thank Day One personally. He was uncomfortable with the attention. "I just did what needed to be done," he told them. But the galaxy did not see it that way. The galaxy saw a human who refused to be a victim, who stood against impossible odds, who gathered allies and fought back against tyranny. Songs were written about the battle. Stories spread across 1,000 worlds. Humans, once seen as curious newcomers, were now recognized as